All right, so let's get going. We got about 55 minutes on the clock, but I think we need a dad joke to kick this off. So, you know what? So far, I've been feeling really, my hands getting really cramped. But shout out to my fingers. I can always count on all of them. That's even I can't even help myself. These are so bad. These are so bad. Okay, number 7. Let's go. All right. Okay. So let's see. Oh, this one. Oh, I'm so glad they gave me this one. Yes, this is the OG. This is how I learned to be an AP World teacher, is by analyzing this particular DBQ. It's the Women in Communism DBQ, right? Analyze the degree to which communist movements affected women's struggle for rights in the 20th century. It's funny, this is the second women's rights DBQ we've had today, except it's now on a world scale. So, a women's struggle, communist movement, 20th century. All right, let's go. Oh, and I can annotate this one. Yes. All right. Got a new page on my notebook here. Okay. Document number 1, 1926, Russian communist revolutionary and member of the government. Okay. In 1905, at the time of the first revolution in Russia broke out, after the famous Bloody Sunday, I had already acquired a reputation in the field of economic and social literature. In those stirring times, and all the energies were utilized in the storm of revolt, it turned out that I had become popular as an orator. Yet in that time period, I realized for the first time how little our party concerned itself with the fate of women. How little our party concerned itself with the fate of the women in the working class. That was in 1905, though. She's not talking about 1926. To be sure, a very strong bourgeoisie women's movement was already in existence, but my Marxist outlook pointed me to the overwhelming clarity that women's liberation could only take place in a new social order and economic system. Okay, so she was a dedicated communist. That's what she was. Let's see. Maria Fedorovna. Maria Fedorovna. Muratova. I really hope I'm not saying that wrong. Also a Soviet official. So we got 2 Russia documents so far, right? We got 2 Russia documents, 2 women in Soviet Union, some USSR stuff. She's also some sort of government official. Women's department. Okay, so this is some sort of official government position in Soviet Uzbekistan, also in the 1930s. Okay. It is incompatible for members of the party and the Komsomol, which is the Soviet Youth League, if his wife, sister, or mother is veiled. Oh, like wearing the veil. It is necessary to demand of every communist the fulfillment of this directive, and to that communist to resist who does not want to carry out the party directive, who wants to preserve the remnants of feudal relations and seclusion, to that member we say there is no place for you in this party. So in other words, take that veil off, or you don't get to be in the Communist Party. Interesting. We got an anti-veil campaign. Interesting. So this is a interesting little intersection here with Central Asian Muslim women. Okay. Now we're jumping ahead. Okay. North Vietnamese Constitution of 1960. Bear in mind, that's not the Constitution of modern Vietnam. That would be the new Constitution. So you have the Constitution, Vietnam, and 1960. Interesting. Okay. Women in the Democratic Republic of Vietnam enjoy equal rights with men in all spheres of political, economic, cultural, and social and domestic life. For equal work, equal pay, the state ensures that women workers and office employees have fully paid periods of leave before and after childbirth. Well, that's nice, I suppose. That's kind of good. I would think that's good. The state protects the mother and child, ensures the development of maternity hospitals, daycare centers, and kindergartens. That sounds like, that in particular seems like it might be tough to do. You know, that requires material, building. That's kind of a tough one. But, okay. I'm about to zoom in on this one. I can't see very well. Zoom in. Can we zoom in? Okay. Percentage of women among research and professional personnel in the Soviet Union. National Science Foundation, Washington, D.C. Oh, so this is from America, from the U.S. So this is a chart with professional degree holders from the height of the Cold War. Okay. This is also such a small period of time. This is only a 10-year period. Degree holders, looks like it stays the same. Professors, looks like it stays the same. Associate professors, yeah, it moves a little bit. Yeah, everything pretty much stays the same. Except for associate professors, that one moves a little bit. So they all pretty much stay the same. All research categories, yeah, it only goes up by 1%. Okay. That's what we call a continuity, kids. That's what we call a continuity. Document 5. Source. Quote, encourage late marriage, comma, plan for birth, comma, work hard for the new age, comma. Oh, that's a lot of commas. Propaganda poster for the Chinese Cultural Revolution, published by the Hubei Province Birth Control Group, Wuhan City. Hey, it's our old buddy Wuhan. Wuhan. Nice. Nice. It's good to know Wuhan is in there getting representation, because I mean, I've never heard of Wuhan. Have you? Has anybody here heard of the city of Wuhan? Yeah, I guess nothing really important happened in Wuhan in the last 3 years. Okay, what do we got here? We got looks like a lot of industry. I can't really tell what's going on here. There's like so much going on here. Like, look at all this. And but there's like a train and a ship and some factories and a silo maybe. A nurse vaccinating a child, some scientist. We got a modern day like radar station here, something really fancy. Military personnel here. I guess it's just saying like you could be all these things, right? If you plan, when you're going to have kids, you could be all these things. But you know what this is also immediately reminding me of is China's one-child policy. That's what this is almost immediately making me think of, as the one-child policy. Fidel Castro, speech to Federation of Cuban Women, 1974. Okay. We are just hitting all the communist countries here. We got Vietnam, Cuba, China, the Soviet Union. We're only missing Eastern Europe. In Cuba, there remains a certain discrimination against women. It is very real, and the revolution is fighting it. This is 20 years, by the way, after the revolution. This discrimination even exists within the Cuban Communist Party, where we only have 13% women, even though women contribute a great deal to the revolution and have sacrificed a great deal. They often have higher revolutionary qualifications than men do. Okay, so this seems to be like a tacit admission that even the Communist Party does not necessarily serve the needs of women. So yeah, there's that. Interesting. Fidel Castro. Okay, let's see. Open letter circulated by an anonymous women's group in Romania. In Romania. Okay, so this is the Ceausescu regime. The Ceausescu regime. Addressed to Elena Ceausescu, wife of Nicolae Ceausescu. Published out in France. So it's not even published in Romania. It has to be published in France. That's interesting. Where is our agricultural produce, dear First Lady of the country? We would dearly love to know it from yourself, in your capacity as a communist woman, wife and mother. Where is our food? Where on earth could one find cheese, margarine, butter, cooking oil, and the meat which one needs to feed the folk of this country? By now you should know, Miss Ceausescu, that after so many exhausting hours of labor in factories, on building sites, we are still expected to rush about like mad, hours on end, in search of food to give our husbands, children, and grandchildren something to eat. So clearly there's still expectation that women, although they will work in the factories, are still expected to fulfill those traditional roles. You should know now that we may find nothing to buy in the state-owned food shops, sometimes for days or weeks on end. And finally, if one is lucky enough to find something, as we must stand in endless lines, yeah, that's true, which in the end stop all desire to eat and even be alive. Sometimes we even feel like dying, not being able to face the suffering and utter misery and injustice that is perpetuated on this country. Or perpetrated. Perpetuated? No. Perpetrated on this country. Yes, she was indeed known for her lavish lifestyle. By the way, you know what happened to her and Ceausescu after the revolution, which happened about 10 years after this document? Actually, I think exactly 10 years after this document, which is that on Christmas Day, they were sentenced to death and shot by a military tribunal. So, you know, I guess I don't know if that exactly deserves that, but that's what happened. Okay, so women and the Communist Revolution and the 20th century. Do we notice any patterns here? Well, what I'm noticing right off the bat is that politically, a lot of these documents seem to talk about politically giving women rights. So things like this fact that Alexandra Kollontai was, she was active in the Soviet government, right? So we got some political rights there. We also see a woman down in document 2 also having political rights, being able to play an active part in the government. I mean, the document of Communist North Vietnam also says that women have political equality. Right? There's a lot of talk, for lack of a better word. There's a lot of talk about women being equal and women having opportunities. And there definitely seem to be at least some efforts to make this a reality. Some efforts. Encourage late marriage, right? There seems to be some efforts to allow women to work in higher positions. So like document 4, right? There are some parallels between, for example, we look at the junior research associates. They make up to half, and they make up a third of all professional positions. Like, that's kind of cool. Same thing with document 5, is that this poster is trying to encourage women to participate in the workforce. But I think documents 6 and 7 also point out that there are shallow realities. Right? The fact that you have the leader of a communist country like admitting, yeah, we're not doing so hot here. Like, this, we're not doing great. This ain't great. That kind of is kind of bad. Let's see. Evaluate the extent to which, what's it say? Using the documents, analyze the degree to which communist movements affected women's struggle for rights in the 20th century. Well, I guess we're going to take that and we're going to run with it. We're going to take that and we're going to run with it. So I'm going to quickly pull up my new doc. We're just going to write the thesis, analyzed the extent to which communist movements influenced the struggle for women's rights in the 20th century, because they don't want you to think it might be the 21st century, where there's literally only like 4 communist governments left. They definitely want to make sure you don't make that mistake. So let's see. If we talk about political equality, political rights, right? Political rights and political opportunities, right? Then the big contributing documents would be 1, 2, and 3. Whoops. So let me switch on over here. There we go. 1, 2, and 3. And we talk about equal opportunity in the workforce. That would be documents 4 and 5. And the difficult realities of life. That would definitely be 6 and 7. Those definitely show that despite any bold and stated goals of these parties, that there were still a lot of issues that had to be overcome. Things don't change overnight. Ideals change very slowly in society. Just get some more water here real quick. All right. Let's go. Okay, so thesis time. Thesis time now. I could go for some pizza time right about now, but that's all right. Okay. In the 20th century, communist movements influenced the struggle for women's rights by offering, so I'm going to scroll over, there we go, by offering political opportunities and attempting to guarantee equality in government, as can be seen in the USSR. Equality in law, I should say, in law, as can be seen in the USSR, as well as equal opportunities professionally. However, many communist states could not escape their cultural or economic realities, such as Romania. Romanian food shortages. Realities which affected women. Equal professionally, such as in China. However, many communist states can escape their cultural economic realities which affected women, such as Romanian food shortages. All right, thesis down. Thesis down. Okay. Oh boy. Whew. Just feel like I'm taking this one really slow. We're taking this one real slow. I think of these last two, I'm gonna be slugging over the finish line here. Okay, let's get to work. Alrighty, paragraph 1. Alrighty. Communist governments around the world attempted to promote equality under the law, as well as provide equal opportunities to women to work in government. For example, women headed the, let's see, what was that document? What was that second one? The Women's Commission? Turn off the draw tool. Look back at the documents. Document 2. The Women's Committee of Soviet Uzbekistan attempted to outlaw the wearing of the veil in that part of the USSR. Oops, and I just got misspellings everywhere. Soviet Uzbekistan, all of the veil in that part of the USSR. Document 2. This effort was in keeping with the idea that the veil represented an oppressive system which prevented women from fully participating in daily life in the USSR. Activities such as the Komsomol, the youth group, I think that's how you spell it, the Komsomol. Let me double check. Yep, the Komsomol, which is the youth group. Sorry, the dog's making noises in here. So as the Komsomol, right? However, it should probably be noted that, so we could do a little context here. The USSR was officially an atheist state, which did not tolerate the open practicing of religion, no matter the faith. And this would have applied to perceived religious cultural practices, such as the veil, though this attitude would not take into account those women who, or I shouldn't say should not, actually no, it's fine, who sincerely wished to wear it as a demonstration of faith. So that would be our little bit of context. Hence, making equality legal. There's a little context statement, some context there about the USSR, about their officially atheist position, which is well known, and that persecution of faiths continued right up until World War II, when Stalin thought, you know, maybe it'd be a good idea to not persecute my religious minorities. Then maybe they'll support me against the Germans. Another example of this comes from the Constitution of North Vietnam, which guaranteed legal equality and maternity care. That's pretty dope. I mean, we don't even have maternity care in this country. We have very limited time off. Women have very limited time off after pregnancy, but they put that right in their constitution. That's pretty radical. Let's see, document 3. Here we go. Document 3. So this effort to create equality between the genders was an effort to overturn the long history of Confucian ethics, which had been part of Vietnamese history for centuries, and allow women a chance at public life, and allow women an equal chance at a public life separate from her husband. I'm kind of stretching that one a little bit because it's not technically what it says, but I'm going to stretch it, and I think it might be an acceptable husband per Confucian norms. There we go. We'll just do that. Alrighty. Additionally, the inclusion of maternity care may have been intended to engender loyalty to the Vietnamese state, I should say the North Vietnamese state, as it was in armed conflict with the southern with the South Vietnamese state and the U.S. Hence, it would need all of the efforts of its peoples. Hence, it would need all of the efforts of its peoples to survive. Loyalty of women. And hence the support for women's reproductive health was a political ploy. Now that's a bit cynical, to put it mildly. I don't genuinely think that's the case, but I'm just going to argue it here because I'm just thinking about how a high school student thinks. And what I've noticed for years about students who take these classes is that cynicism is a really good way to analyze things if you're just genuinely not that sure about how it's all supposed to go. Cynicism is never a bad way to go about things. You can just be a little bit cynical. Cool. I'm going to leave off document 1 unless I find that I have time. I'm just going to go with the other 6, or the other 3, or the other 4, sorry. Additionally, in addition to political rights and equality, communist states attempted to provide opportunities in the workforce for women. Okay. Now the dog wants to be let out. Hang on. All right, we're going to pause this real quick. 2 seconds. You're right, my mic is off. Thank you. Thank you kindly. Okay. That would be document 4. In particular, the overall percentage of women in the professions in the Soviet Union is about 35%. 35%. The Soviet Union for 35%. It could be argued that this is a low percentage. However, since the Russian Empire, the predecessor to the USSR, did not have any academic positions open to women, then this is a massive improvement. Additionally, this chart was created 18 years before, and I'm going to pull this info from one of the other DBQs we've done today. This chart was created 18 years before the passage of Title IX. The passage of Title IX in the United States, meaning that the USSR was well ahead of the US in the equality of opportunity, or I should say in the ability, in the, how can I phrase this? In the provision of opportunity for women to receive an education. The U.S. Brazil had the U.S. At this time in the mid 20th century. Period. Whoop. All right. So there's our outside evidence. Let's see. We talked about education. I should say. Actually, wait. Hang on. Education, which we gotta make sure we link this to our argument, which would provide additional opportunities professionally. Perfect, right? Education for professional opportunity, right? We got that. Okay. All right. Another example of this would be the propaganda poster produced by a local Chinese Communist Party, which encourages women to not have children early. The background of the poster includes images of possible jobs women could have. The message is that a woman can be more if they delay marriage. And they delay marriage. Hence the party, the Communist Party of the area, is portraying themselves as the political force to provide these opportunities to women by encouraging them to break with traditional norms. Now, as you probably have already realized, taking a piece of propaganda at its word is not exactly, well, it's just a very easy score on the AP exam, right? All you have to do is point out that document is a propaganda poster, right? And then you could very easily come back and be like, no, this actually doesn't prove anything, right? Now I'm going to talk about that in the next paragraph, but my point is when you are, whenever you encounter a propaganda poster on DBQ, it's just sort of a slam dunk to point out that this poster is very clearly propaganda. And if I'm going to argue against it, that's all you really got to point out. You're like, we just can't take what this person is saying, or we can't take what this poster is saying. And that's document 5. That's document 5. That was document 4. This is document 5. Cool. To break with traditional norms. Let's see what else were we going to say? Okay, I think that's it. The message is that women can be more if they delay marriage, hence the Communist Party of this area is portraying themselves as the political force to provide these opportunities to women by encouraging them to break with traditional norms. I feel like this isn't fully fleshed out. Oh, sorry, break with traditional norms of early marriage and following the of early marriage and child rearing. Despite the positive image of how the communist movements treated women, the reality on the ground was not always so positive. And many of these movements were limited by their cultural or economic realities. So here's where I'm about to throw off some of the things I've just finished arguing. I'm going to do the argue the both ways kind of thing. Oh, we got 19 minutes. We can do this. Okay. One example of this would be Fidel Castro's speech to a women's organization of the Communist Party in Cuba. Communist Party in Cuba, in which he openly admits that there is sexism in the party. That's document 6. If the leader is able to admit this, then it is, if able to admit that this sexism exists at the highest level, then it was very probable that it existed in everyday life for women in communist Cuba. Like much of Spanish-speaking America, Cuba has long struggled with the concept of machismo. I feel like I should phrase this way. I feel like I'm painting a whole region with a broad brush. I don't want to like single this out. I feel like this is not the proper way to talk about this. Cuba. You know what? I'm just going to go ahead and go with it and understand that this is a high schooler who's writing this and not a PhD candidate. Oh my goodness, we got another donation. Oh, who could it be? I thought the leaderboard was supposed to show the top 3 donations. Why isn't it showing that? We got another donation. Yes. Oh my goodness. Who is it? Does it say? Will it say? Do I get to know who it is? Oh, who could it be? Who could it be? Does it say? Do I get to know? Oh, doesn't say who, but it does say Slava Ukraina, and I agree with that. Amen. Amen. Oh, I know who that is. Well, if they're in the chat, they can drop a. I think that $15 gets a personal question, a mini AMA. So think about it, and I'll get to it as soon as I finish this DBQ. Machismo, a cultural norm in which women are subordinate to men. Despite communism's pledge to equality, such a deep-rooted cultural norm is hard to remove in 20 years. Perfect. Some context right there. And hence the reality of the limits of communism's ability to help women, period. The limits, no, period. Additionally, in Romania, the inefficiencies of the communist government hurt women as much as they hurt men. In a letter to the wife of to the first lady of communist Romania, women complain that they are not able to find food for their families, indicating the suffering of their children. Additionally, I shouldn't say, I've already said additionally twice. Also, they point out that even when they have jobs in factories, they are still expected to fulfill gender roles at home. So yes, we get to work in our factory, but then we are expected to fulfill gender roles at home. Hence, this reality, this double shift, if you will, reflects the fact that even though communism opened doors for women professionally, it did not lighten their burden in terms of childcare, reflecting the limits of communist reforms. The story from Romania also highlights pitfalls of documents 6 and documents 3 and 4. Or I should say documents, which one are they? Documents, not 3. No, yes, 3 and 5. 3 and 5. Which are that political promises may not materialize economically. It is possible that the maternity wards promised by North Vietnam did not come to exist because of the war and further economic difficulties. And in China, the push to limit the population, or push to limit population growth, led to the one-child policy, which resulted at times in women being subjected to human rights violations in the name of preventing more children from being born. Okay, that's a bit of a sad note to kind of end things on, unfortunately. That's a bit depressing. Okay. Oh, we got to contextualize it. That's right. Let's see. Contextualization. So what would be a good way to do this? Okay, so the Industrial Revolution shifted the way humans work with one another by moving production into factories. This shift to wage labor meant that not everyone needed to work. And in the upper classes, in the middle and upper classes, women began to lose economic and political rights. Such as laws banning women from working. I actually don't have any on my brain right now. I'm just sort of grasping at straws here. And to lose economic and political rights, such as laws that banned women from working in the United Kingdom. Karl Marx's communism, which opposed capitalism, sought the equality of both genders under the new communist world order, which I'm exaggerating here a little bit, under the new communist world order. And so communist movements across the world took this position as they forged their new societies from Russia to China to Cuba to Vietnam. Just gonna throw them all in there. Forged their new society. Okay. Alrighty. So I think we're done here. I think we got it. I think this might honestly be the longest one. I don't know why I wrote so much on this one. I think we're good there with about 7 minutes to go.